Yo, 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 what's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Part-Time Artist Podcast. This is episode 201. It feels like I'm starting over again somehow, but I don't know. It's the first episode into 200. Wow, that episode 200 was a mammoth of an episode. If you tuned into that, God bless you. You're awesome. You've also tuned into quite an episode today, because we are going to get a look at the hard rock and heavy metal side of underground music. And it's one of my favorite genres. It is the roots of where I come from in music. So it's really cool to see how bands are navigating that genre today. And in this episode today, we are going to talk about all things, metal scene, Florida scene, traveling, making albums, keeping a band together, and also just like the impact of Ozzy Osbourne. If you're flying high again, oh God, if you're flying high again because of that Ozzy performance and stuff, me too, man. And it's so invigorating to see all of those bands that came together in support of Sabbath, in support of Ozzy. Like, Ozzy has put so many new bands on. He's created a festival. He's had all of these band members, and he's just done so much for the music scene. So if you are inspired by that, then again, you tuned into a great episode. Before we jump in, I want to let you know that there's a few links in the description. Number one, something that we do talk about is there is a GoFundMe for Lurking Class Skate Shop, which is an awesome venue at the bottom of Maryland that does a lot of underground metal, punk, alternative shows. It is such a great scene down there. It's my favorite place to play, and they're what is it called? Construction and renovating a new space for themselves to expand the stage a little bit. So it's really awesome. Consider just throwing $5-10, anything their way. They're really close to meeting their goal down there. And the construction has begun. So it's really cool if you can chip in any capacity. Also, if you're looking for a new cell phone plan, something I really advocate for is Visible. That's the plan that I have, and I just recently connected my Visible plan to my Verizon Fios home internet plan, and it saved me $15 a month on that home internet. So, if you're like me and you're looking for any way that you can save money, try that. And the Visible plans, I think they're only $20 or $25 a month. To switch over is really easy. If you have a smartphone, you can download the app. You can keep your phone number, get a new phone number. You download an eSIM. You can do it in like 10 minutes. It's a really awesome thing to do. The other thing is, if you want to hit the gym this summer, get that body going, get that pump on, sign up for Planet Fitness. I have a link down there for Planet Fitness. And if you're like me and you get really sore, you're in your 30s now, consider getting yourself a sauna. This is something that's really helping me recover, especially after a tour, after shows, after hitting the gym. I hit the sauna, 10, 15, 20 minutes, you're good. You're sweating. All right. But yeah, aside from all of that, check out this awesome show. All right, I have with me a couple of very special guests. I have Sid and Ryan from Sid Stratton. Guys, thank you so much for coming on the show. Even though you are hours away from flying to the other side of the country, okay, they still made time to do the show, and that is beyond, I'm just beyond grateful for that. So thank you for taking the time. I know.
Hey, thank you for having us on.
Now, you guys are down in Florida, right?
Yes, sir. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Ryan's already over there on the West Coast, but I'm the last one to to come over.
Aha, interesting. Now, before we start here, I want to get a little bit of like an underrated, overrated with Florida, because Florida, living up in the Northeast, my interpretation of Florida is all over the place. All over the place. Florida is all over the place in the media. It's all like the people that I meet are all over the place. As soon as I'm in New Jersey and someone has Florida license plates, I know slow down, let them go, because otherwise they might clip me as they cut me off. But it's like, you know, and then there's obviously all the storms, all the, you know, the way Florida gets in the media is strange. So why don't you tell me like an underrated or an overrated piece about Florida, living in Florida?
Oh man, underrated, overrated, what is it? I mean, personally, I think a lot of people, I don't know if this is really overrated, people just assume Florida, it's like Mickey Mouse and that's it. And I'm like, there's so much more than Mickey Mouse, and like, the crazy stuff that happens in the news, all that is very spot on. So I'm like, I feel like everyone kind of sees it, and I'm like, yeah, that's, and people are shocked, but I think overrated or underrated? Shit, I think a lot of the music's underrated here. There's a lot of great bands out of Florida, but then a lot of us bands travel outside of Florida, because when it comes to the music scene itself, I would say is overrated, because everyone's going to the theme park to go to shows and stuff like that. But I think the bands are underrated. The scene is overrated.
Interesting. What about you, Ryan?
Are we talking locations or just things in general?
I would say things in general.
Okay, underrated, I'd say, like, you have some good, like, secret spots and like some good, like, niche communities here in Florida.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, you got some hidden we do got some hidden gems. Or I guess that's the kind of nice thing about everyone just seeing Mickey Mouse here, is that all like the cool hidden away treasure spots, like there's no tourists at, so we all just kind of like, we know where to get away kind of thing. So that's true. I didn't think about that.
Yeah, I can picture Florida having an underrated cultural scene, because like you said, in the media, it's Mickey Mouse and hurricanes and Go Gators and, you know, winning Stanley Cups. I guess they're good at that down there.
I know. Where did that come from? You know, it's like, how did that happen? The wildlife is pretty cool though, because like you go for a walk and like I'll go around my neighborhood and you see snakes, spiders, bats, gators. There's peacocks everywhere. It's like it's cool.
That's a bucket list to go down there to the Everglades for me, for sure. I dig that culture of like swamp culture. That's
what we did a festival, and then the promoter called us Voodoo Swamp. What was it? Voodoo Groove Juice.
Yeah, like, Voodoo Groove Juice.
Yeah, he called like our style. He's like, this band is Voodoo Groove Juice, introducing Sid Stratton. We're like, what did you say? We're like, he's like, you got like that cool swamp groove. And I was like, oh, cool, hell yeah, man.
That should be the name. If you guys start a record label, that should be
Voodoo Groove Juice.
That's it.
Hell yeah. I like that.
Now, you mentioned the music scene a little bit. Again, people from the Northeast have their own interpretations, but something that's big, at least in my world, is Fest. Fest is like brings people from everywhere down there to Gainesville and stuff like that. I've heard so many great things about Gainesville and some stuff. So why don't you like sort of set the record straight with the music scene in Florida? Is it all Gainesville, or can we go to other places?
You can go to other places. Gainesville Fest is cool. Gainesville, like, that punk rock community, that's actually legit. Tallahassee has a cool college scene. I like to call it Tallanasty because they get weird there. And that's fun. Tampa is like straight up metalcore, death metal. So if you're looking for that, you go there.
Wow.
And everywhere else, like Orlando's weird because it's all cover bands. It's very cover band, pop punk, a lot of like emo nights, or like yeah, just kind of like that. And then you got your beach music, I love Jimmy Buffett, but then it's like all Jimmy Buffett and Eagle cover bands. So it's you can kind of find whatever you can find whatever you're looking for. Jacksonville, I feel like struggles sometimes, but they're coming back right now.
Okay. I played
Miami's the opposite spectrum. They're super.
Oh yeah. We'll do shows in Miami, and it's always weird. And it's like every time we do a show in Miami, there's like someone is like always way bigger touring at the same time. Like we did a 2-night show, and of course then Taylor Swift is doing it, and we're like, shit, how does this keep happening for us? It was like Taylor Swift one year, and I can't remember who it was, but it was like 3 years in a row. It was always a bigger artist. We like planned it, we booked it, announced it, and then the bigger artist announced, and we're like, cool.
I mean, when you have Sid Stratton tickets and Taylor Swift tickets at the same time, you know, you got to make that tough choice. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's
and
one or the other. They should have made
Sid Stratton. Yeah, they should have came and said, I got nice hair. You know, I got nice blonde
Next time,
hair.
Taylor,
I like Taylor Swift, though.
Taylor, if you need an opening band in Florida.
Yeah, exactly.
It's right here.
Together.
You don't have to compete.
It would have been awesome.
Now, on that note, let's talk about metal in general. Okay, there's a lot of what's really cool right now is all of a sudden people are kind of buzzing about metal. And I wanted to talk to you guys about this a little bit later because metal is in the algorithms now because of one man and one great show. But before we get into that, I want to know, what are like the big misconceptions about metal? What are some misconceptions that you could clear up for us right now?
Oh yeah, big misconceptions. Everyone thinks if you're in a metal band or if you're into metal music, like it's so like archaic, I think, where people are like, oh, you guys must worship the devil or you're just evil. And I'm like, we're all like, my gym playlist is all girly pop and I'm in a metal band. Like it's like, I don't get it. Like we're all big bunch of like teddy bears that like love to hang out. A lot of us are nerds, super nerds. We're big action figure and Magic the Gathering players and collectors. So it's like us metalheads, we're all, it's like we all just like to get together and we let our frustrations out on the stage. But other than that, we're just like, we'll give you the shirt off our back. We'll help you out no matter what. And big time community, big time coming together family. Same thing with like the punk scene I've seen a lot. It's like everyone really comes together, the metal scene. I think it's super big misconception where people are like, oh, those are like the bad kids or the bad people, or it's like in metal. I remember being in middle school and if you had like a Slipknot shirt or a System of a Down, it was like, you know, you can't hang out with those kids or something. I'm like, what are you talking about? That's super nice. What you know?
Yeah, there's definitely like expectation and reality difference between that. What about you, Ryan? What do you think is a pretty big misconception about metal?
I think that we're either very crazy or very angry all the time, and we're crazy, but I mean we're chill.
Yeah,
we're the chill crazy.
Chill about it.
Yeah. I don't think the Death Clock show helped at all because people really took the Death Clock show to heart.
Mermaider. I still rock out to Mermaider. I love Death Clock.
That shit is so funny. All right, but before we get into anything else, let's jump into a tune here. This is the title track off the latest album from Sid Stratton. This tune is called Ashes to Diamonds. Check it out.
Spectres dance in the dead of the night.
right, that tune was called Ashes to Diamonds, and it's the title track on the latest album called Ashes to Diamonds, which was released in 2023, a couple years ago now. You've had some time to chew on this, play it live, hear it, mix it, all that stuff. You got 8 tracks here. Which one's your favorite?
Oh, it's Ashes to Diamonds.
Okay.
Definitely. That was a wedding gift to my wife. I wrote that for our wedding. Yeah. And then that was like that kind of like set the tone for it. We're actually going to film the music video next month, right when we get back from this upcoming tour. We're going to shoot a video for it.
Wow. Now let's talk about that for a second here. You're jumping to the West Coast from Florida.
Yeah.
Now, historically, like, this is probably not the most efficient way to tour as a band, right? Let's just PSA out there. Like, probably, and I always tell, like, when I talk to younger bands, I'm like, just stay within 100 miles. Just play places where you can go back to, you can meet somebody, things can snowball. But here you guys are jumping over to the West Coast, playing shows in California, and then coming to North Carolina. What is the deal with this? What is the idea behind this?
The most love we get is actually out of Florida. Like, that's where our biggest fan base is. It's like California. We've only done 3 shows in California, and the reception we got there was pretty crazy. And we've had people blowing us up like, when are you coming back? We missed the show. And we're like, okay, I guess we got to book a follow-up. And so now the goal is every 6 months, tour California. When it comes to the East Coast, it's like North Carolina to Pennsylvania. That's our tour route, going all the way up there. And that's where we get a lot of, all the festivals that we get to do are there. Most the North Carolina run, all those bands we tour with or do shows with every year, just because we got a close, knit group of friends and their bands, and that's just kind of how it worked for us. Florida, we're kind of like the outcast of Florida. We don't really like, we play here maybe like once or twice a year. We used to play here all the time. We used to do these things we called rock and roll rituals, where my wife owns a burlesque troupe, and we would play live music and they would do burlesque, and those shows were awesome. But when it came with working with other promoters, we were always getting like slighted on paydays, and we didn't like that. And so we were like, let's just go do it ourselves. So we decided to just go outside of Florida. And I can't say exactly where international we're going, but we do have something we're going overseas to next year for a tour. So we're just trying to keep the grind going.
Now, when you said, you shipped all the way to California, and now you're going overseas, are you kind of winging it in terms of where people are, or are you using your listener statistics on Spotify or talking to people in these places or something like that? What's getting you to these spots?
Really word of mouth. We can see where we're getting blown up on all of our analytics from social media. But we go to the NAMM events every year, and when we go to those and we socialize with everybody and we talk to these promoters, we got invited to an after party last year, and there I just made a comment, and I was like, man, really want to tour overseas. And one guy was like, he books tours overseas, and then he's like, hey, let me hear your music. And he heard it, and he's like, holy shit, yeah, I want to bring you overseas.
Amazing.
It's just like that. And then he already started laying some groundwork and showing our stuff to venues and promoters, and they're like, yeah, we would love to have him here. And it was literally just that. And then he's like, hey, if you want to do this, we can make this happen. And it's just all word of mouth and just shaking hands and making friends, and that's been it.
Is that kind of like the other thing about touring to me is I believe it's about like managing expectations and also just kind of like having a good time and not really putting too much pressure, emphasis on every show has to be good and things like that. I want to ask, maybe I'll start with Ryan. What kind of expectations or goals do you have for this run? Like, what are you hoping to see, or what are you hoping to have? And also, like, what are your sort of visions for touring in general?
Well, with every tour, I always want to goal at the end of the day is to make more fans, to meet new people, and it's all about growing our base. And I guess in the case of California in particular, it's building our second home.
Oh, yeah.
We love coming here. They love seeing us. So we really want to establish that base, for example.
Yeah. Interesting. And how does the California scene compare to Florida? Is it night and day, or?
Yeah. For us, it's night and day. Yeah. For us, it's like Florida will be like, everyone's like, yeah, you guys we're cool. Awesome. And then we'll like never see them again. So we're like, oh, I guess they don't like, we're usually, when people here ask us what's our style, it's like, we're the and in hard rock and metal. We're too metal for hard rock shows, and we're not metal enough for metal shows. And it's that weird in between. So it's like, we're not everyone's cup of tea. But then in California, we were just kind of like, we had an off night. Our first show was like, everything that could go wrong did go wrong on stage. And we were like, wow, we really shit the bed on that one. People are going to hate it. And then after the show, everyone was like waiting for us outside to like talk with us. And they're just like, we don't see bands like you guys here. And like, where are you guys playing next? We want to go. And we're
nice.
Like, oh shit, you guys like this? Cool. Yeah. And then just following with that momentum, and then going to the NAMM event, because we try to book our tours around NAMM. And except, smart. I mean, right now we're not doing it, but yeah, so it's like every January we go do a run, and then every July we do a run. And it was pretty, I mean, for us, California was night and day for the better for us, because it feels like we found our demographic that like likes our sound, especially.
I have to say, that's, first of all, that's awesome that you can do that. Like, now that these analytics are coming out, I'm kind of telling people, like, you don't need to tour to find the scene that likes you now. Like, you just need to put it out there and kind of see, because, you know, like 10 years ago when I first started touring with my band, it was about finding which scene liked us more, because we were coming from New York City, where the music scene is just like here today, gone tomorrow. Bands, people, promoters, places, here today, gone tomorrow, for the most part. All right, I don't want to offend everybody, but, you know, the Grand Victory, the Trash Bar, all these things that were awesome, even CBGBs, if we want to go back there, it's not there anymore. You know, those people are, at some point, they're gone. Their lease will be up. So, like, the point was figuring it out, and we went to Canada and fucking New Orleans, and we're driving, and I'm driving in my van in fucking Georgia, and I'm like, we're still not even in St. Augustine, Florida. We were for a game. We're like, this is cool. And then after COVID, we started going back. Like, we went back to Canada, and we're like, guys, where'd everybody go? You know, it was gone. And it was like, fuck. Like, now what? And luckily, and this is, I guess, what I also want to tell you guys, is luckily the coolest thing that we found for our music was happening in Maryland.
Oh, okay.
which is not as far from Philly, where I am right now. It's not far from me. It's not like I have to get in a plane and go 3 hour time difference away. But I do think that there's a lot of cool things happening in Maryland, and I think it's not genre specific. It's hardcore, it's punk, it's alternative, it's really cool in Maryland. That's not to say that you're not gonna have like bad nights or low turnout or something. But that's just America and everywhere. But especially I want to shout out Lurking Class Skate Shop. I've been putting the GoFundMe in the description. You guys can check it out. They just built the new stage It's a DIY, all ages, no alcohol
yeah.
space in a mall at the bottom of Maryland, and they just had to make a new stage. They had a half pipe in there that they had to take out to make a bigger stage to be more safe because they're having so many people show up. So that's my recommendation to you guys too. Is maybe you want to
reach out to them.
Check out Maryland Lurking Class Skate Shop. That's the thing. Now you talked about a little bit, and this is another thing I want to ask you before we get into our next song here. You have 2 albums out, and one thing that is very clear is guitar music is coming back. It's coming back in power pop. It's coming back in like southern rock even. It's coming back in indie. It's coming back in all phases. And what's awesome is that it's coming back in metal too. We're seeing it. We're seeing people, show off that they're a metalhead now, as opposed to just being like, oh, I'm a metalhead and I'm an introvert. And now it's like being a more accepted thing. I wanted to talk to you about the difference between these 2 records that you have. The first record that you put out in 2021, All My Deadly Sins, that one to me was more like guitar driven, more riff heavy, especially when you get into tracks like Demon's Tongue, which to me was just like, it starts out with the bass, and then you're chugging, and I'm just like, dude, this is brutal. Now this new record that or your latest record, it feels like it has a more ambient undertone to it, where there's a lot more electronic stuff. There's like background stuff. So I wanted to know from you guys, how would you compare the 2 records, and how would you identify the growth, and even maybe if there was different approaches with these 2 records, or if when you just put a pen to paper, this is just what happened, like it was just a natural thing as opposed to like a more intentional thing in terms of the composition and songwriting.
Yeah.
I hope I just said a lot of shit. I hope
I get it's so the first album, All My Deadly Sins, is technically a combination of 2 albums, 2 concept albums from my previous band before the rebrand. So the first one, the first set was 8 songs. It was all about I just had a theory that people become what they hate most when depending on what you introduce. So it's like I feel like people always start off growing up, you get your interest, but then people tell you that's wrong, so you're almost like oppressed or slave. But if you give someone like that hope, they become a rebel, and then you introduce despair, and they become the monster that they were originally oppressed by. So I had that whole concept played out between 8 songs, and then the follow-up concept album was all about one of the deadly sins that's not considered deadly sin anymore, but acedia. So then that album, it was all about suicide, and then like those kind of themes. And then what I did for the rebrand is took both of those, meshed them together, because they were recorded and released I think only like 2 years apart, so there was a lot of carryover. It's kind of like where the first one ended, I picked up from the second one, because it was like after that monster phase, it was like realizing what you become and then falling, and trying to get back up. And then versus the second album, I kind of looked at that. I was trying to do like each song was a different episode of like almost like American Horror Story-esque, where it was like each season was drastically different. I always liked that, so I was like trying to keep the theme of horror elements and electronics. I'm a huge Nine Inch Nails fan, so I always loved the ambient stuff. And then I don't really try to repeat what I do. If I wrote a song one way, I don't want to write that same song over again. So I try to just go in a completely different direction. It's like, and then I know people make the case like, well, if that was good, why don't you just make another one? I was like, well, that one's still there. It didn't disappear. Like, you can go back and listen to it. It's like, I just don't want to keep putting out the same thing. I mean, I like bands that do that, but I'm just saying personally for me, I don't find that interesting. And then what I did, instead of a concept album, it was like me and the producer in the studio, and I would have this concept. I would come to him. I was like, hey, here's some tracks. Here's the concept of what I want to talk about in this song. This is my goal with it. And so it's almost each song was its own kind of project. And then all those songs were put together on an album because we got booked to do Incarceration Fest. And I was like, oh, we should promote an album while we're there. And then that was the idea. It was really just, all right, let's take all. Yep, it was like, let's get all these projects, put them on an album, and then promote it there. So went from concept albums to concept songs, and then those concept songs all together.
Can you talk a little bit about, because this is something my dad and I talk about all the time, but it's the role of the producer. And, you know, this is something that a lot of bands today are not thinking about, finding a producer, like as working in a studio or anything like that. Can you talk about the impact that having that producer had on that record?
Oh man, it's made, because I've worked with him since 2000, same guy since 2012. And we kind of made the deal where it's like, hey, I told him I never want to create the same thing twice. He's like, I like that. And he likes the whole idea of like, hey, we're not going to settle for less. That was like one of our mission statements is don't cop out, don't cheap out. The standard's the standard kind of thing.
Okay.
But the role of a great producer, I feel like, is not to be a yes man or woman. It's just like push you to be better. Don't be comfortable. It's not someone to just tell you you're great. They got to challenge you and like, no, you suck. Like, there'll be plenty of times in the studio where I'll hit a line, I think I nailed it. He's like, how about you try delivering it like you care, you know, and like, you know, motivate you. And like, or I'll come with a line and he's like, bro, that's cheesy as hell. We ain't doing that. I'm like, yeah, you're right. You're right. That was, you know, or I'll do a riff and he's like, you already did that riff. That's just this riff over here. And I was like, oh shit, you're right. And he's like,
wow,
also introducing, like, opening my mind to other music. Like, he's taught me so much about what else is out there in the music world, trying to get me out of my, you know, I'll get used to the same bands. And he's like, have you heard this? Try this out, or maybe you'll like this. And really just kind of pushing me to be better. So I think that's the role every producer should have, is not just to like, yeah, you're great, cool, let's do it out and get the record out. Because I worked with those producers when I was making demos that just wanted my money and didn't care about how the product turned out. They're like, yeah, you're great, cool, this is the bill and we'll see you later. Where John, he was like, no, he's like, these are some cool songs. He's like, let's just make them better. And I was like, cool, let's do it.
Perfect. Wow. And now, Ryan, when you jumped on this ship, I'm assuming the first album was already kind of spoken for and you jumped on when the second record. How have you, in terms of, I guess coming now from the outside into it, how are you recognizing sort of the difference between the two albums and in the way you play? Like, were you able to see, like, I guess on the inside, like, ooh, these are things that I really like that are not something that you came up with? You know, has it changed your approach to guitar playing at all to like see the past and now the present? Where do you feel with those two records?
I'll say the first one was spoken for, and when I was working out the songs from the first album, it was very much learning how to speak Sid. Yeah, music has a language, and Sid has very specific vocabulary, and there's certain phrases that might be inappropriate. There are certain tensions that are not right.
Right.
I had to learn the language the first album, and then once we started working on the second album, that was kind of the fun part for me, because then my challenge was, how do we bring this to the live setting? Because Sid likes to plus it live.
Aha, what does that mean?
I always like to say, I mentioned Nine Inch Nails fan, you'll hear Nine Inch Nails on the record and then you'll see them live and it's like, oh, it's the same song but played totally different.
Yeah, it's like gunshots.
Yeah. So I very much like like we do a lot of medleys and we'll do like mashups, and like the core of the song is still there, but we'll tag a different intro or a different outro, or I'll be like, you know, make up your own solo, or it's very a Wild West. I don't know. It's structured but still chaotic. Yeah.
There's just an element of unpredictability.
Yeah. we'll also add things that aren't
Mhm.
on the record, like Demon's Tongue. My answer to that very guitar heavy song was to add even more guitar. There's a solo in it.
Yeah, and he played the solo. I was like,
amazing.
oh, that sounds like it should have always been there. Like you don't know until you hear, like, he brought a new fresh set of ears.
Yeah.
So he hears the song diff and he's like, oh, I have a guitar solo here. I'm like, yeah, that sounds right. Do it. Go for it.
Amazing. Yeah, this is the
Ashes,
shit
too.
I love
During
to
Ashes,
hear about.
he
Ashes
made
was the guitar. Yeah.
yeah,
Nice
there's no solo in the recording, and then I was like, hey, here, and he's like, played it, and then we're like, yeah, let's kind of give it the Demon's Tongue treatment, and then it became more, and even that one other section, second verse, where do more guitar as well.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's just more guitar
More.
everywhere.
Or-
Yeah. I'm like, I know it's like this, but can you do more? It's like,
Yeah.
we're just a 3-piece, man. I was like, more. I'm just Kylo Ren in the Last Jedi. More.
More! Yeah, it's never a bad thing
Exactly.
if someone's asking you to do more of what you're doing, right? I mean, that's
Yeah.
got to be like the ultimate compliment, especially coming from you, who has such a vision and focus for what you want to deliver with these songs. Before we jump into this next song, once again, Sid Stratton's on the road probably right now as you're watching this. He's probably playing tonight somewhere in California. So really, check it out right now because it's happening right now. And this next tune is actually, we're jumping back to that first record. And this tune is called Censored. Check it out.
Once you said you knew me, but now I'm so
All right, that tune was called Censored. Once again, we're here with Sid Stratton. And they're probably playing shows right now. So definitely check them out. And it looks like they're not going to slow down. They might be going to your area soon, especially if you are outside of the U.S. and maybe across the pond over there. Now, I want to talk about the state of metal right now. Metal is on the map once again from the great Ozzy Osbourne, putting everybody back together and doing one last Ozfest in a way. Because that's what I grew up with. I grew up with going to the Ozfest. I got to be honest with you guys. It's impossible to listen to your music and not hear Ozzy. Okay.
Oh, hell yeah!
So let's
just
let you guys what did Ozzy mean to you? What does Ozzy mean to you?
I got two core Ozzy memories where Ozzy's just, I mean, he's the godfather of metal. I mean, I know it's him and Black Sabbath, but really, like, being a kid, that's like the first, it was like Ozzy Osbourne, Alice Cooper, Marilyn Manson, all those. I remember Judas Priest. My parents, growing up, they didn't like me listening to heavier stuff, and that's how I got into it, was through Ozzy. Now they all go to concerts with me. My dad took me to see Ozzy. But I remember one time getting tickets. I won tickets for Ozfest, but it was in Texas and we're in Florida. No one would take me, and I was so sad. And I was like, "Oh, I'm never gonna see Ozzy." And then, Ozzy was touring. It was when Slash put out that compilation album with the different singers, and it was like 2011 or something like that. But my dad, or 2010. And my dad surprised me with tickets.
Was that the Snake Pit?
It was right after that. It was like the first one where he had Ghost was on it, like that with Ian from the Cult, and Miles did, what did he do? Back from Cali and some of those.
Okay.
But Slash was opening, and then Ozzy was the headliner, and then my dad surprised me with tickets and took me, and we were like right up front, right against the rails and stuff, and it blew my mind. And I just remember, that's just like a core memory of me and my dad seeing this metal legend that's really, paved the way for a lot of metal bands and the music the way it is today. And just to see like all those clips from the show too, and still him like singing his heart out, like, moving around and being able to still like, let's fucking go. And I'm like, that's inspiring. Yeah, that's so inspiring, and it just brings a tear. Like when Mom, I'm coming home, I was like, oh man, you got me, dude. Dude, I was like, oh. But it's awesome to see someone have. I mean, he's responsible for launching so many careers, like whether indirectly from just being inspired by his music, or directly where he took gambles on bands, and he's like, hey, I want to push you on Ozfest and show you to these, bigger crowds, because I think you got something. I mean, I don't think the state of metal would be the way it is today without Ozzy. Like, he's the man. Ozzy's the man.
For sure. Ryan, do you have like a core Ozzy memory?
Honestly, it was nothing in particular, but just more of those quiet moments of listening intently to the song.
Yeah.
Paying attention to what was going on in them and who was doing what.
Right.
We were talking about, we found out we were at that same Ozzy show too. Yeah. And we didn't realize, we started talking. I was like, oh, I went to this one. He's like, I also went to that one. I was like, what?
Cool. That's hilarious. I love when that happens.
Crossed paths 10 years ago. Didn't know it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I had no idea. I guess you were all the way up front. I was all the way up top.
Yeah. Oh, those mosh pits, man. Still had to go for it for Ozzy. My dad still moshes. He broke his hip in one of our mosh pits.
Oh my God.
And in the Censored music video, you can see him getting trucked, and he goes flying.
God.
And I was like, we got to keep that in the video. I was like, sorry, Dad. He was not happy. He was like, can't show me getting my like ass like thrown across. I was like, that's too good of a moment.
Yeah.
Everything lasts forever on the internet now. That's for sure.
Yeah.
I think what Ozzy did too, and all of these bands, like, and I think this goes back to what our first question was, which was these misconceptions about metal. Metal has all of this scary, like, shit, but at the end of the day, it's just theater, right? Like that's what I was talking on the phone with like, you know, like my friend's mom, and she grew up in the 80s and stuff like that, and they were like, the only thing I knew about Ozzy is he bit that bat, and everyone that was like weird, and I was like, I wasn't into that, and I was just like, yeah, but like if you go to the show, it's everyone smiling, you know, like there's like, it's just so campy. And even like now when you look back on these records, like I'm looking at the Bark at the Moon record where
man, that album covers,
and the Diary of a Madman where he's like wearing all the makeup. I'm like, oh my god, I can't believe this went out and people thought that this was like so badass. It's like so camp. He is like the Prince of Darkness, but like such a sweetheart, like all about kids and paying it forward, and like you said, putting the next generation on. I would argue that no one, especially in metal, has broke more bands than Ozzy and Sharon Osbourne.
100% agree.
When you think about like the fact that I was like, you know, that they broke The Used and Slip, all these bands that I was like, like massive, like Avenged Sevenfold and System of a Down, like all these bands that I was like getting excited about, and then they would be at Ozfest, you know, even Iron Maiden and Black Sabbath and all that stuff. But even Iron Maiden, like it's like those covers, they look scary or whatever, but then you go to the show and they're all running around in spandex. And there's a animatronic monster running around. It's just like, do you guys like also try to like steer into that too a little bit, because you guys, I noticed you guys have like the alchemical sulfur logo, right? Black sulfur.
So that's the logo. It's a Leviathan cross.
Oh, it's actually a Leviathan cross.
Yeah, and then for the bottom part is just the snake, and then I love bats. I'm a big Batman fan, so then we just stuck a bat right in the center, and then the horns is for the Aries. So I just kind of took 3 logos that I like. I took snake, a bat, the ram, and the Leviathan cross, and I put them all into one.
So it has nothing to do with the black sulfur, because that's what I really thought, or whatever.
You can go with that. Yeah, go with it. Yeah,
that's your side project record label, Black Sulfur.
Yeah. Black Sulfur. I like it. See, that's the great thing about art. Everything's up for interpretation, and people can see. I mean, it's like when Ryan, heard some of these songs for his first time, and it bringing that fresh ear, and he's like, "Hey, what if we try to do something like that?" I'm like, "Hell yeah!" Are you seeing that? They're like, "Hey, what about this?" I'm like, "Oh yeah, that's totally there. I can see that. It's dope. It's really cool."
That's so interesting to me, because it's like, because I think metal is also the type of genre where you like read into things, that's why they thought there was all these subliminal shit with the PMRC in like the 90s. Everyone's like reading the line, and then like the Eddie Trunks of the world that are like reading the liner notes and studying all this shit, and then you like think you form all these things, and then it's just like, nah, we did it because it looked cool, and you're like, oh well, I really like
so I started just doing stuff because it looked cool, because before I put out an album, and in the notes I put puzzles and hidden messages, and no one got them, and I spent days, weeks, hours formatting it, thinking it was so clever, and then no one got it. And then my grandpa got it. He was what are they called when they break codes in the military? So when he saw it, he was able to like cipher the whole thing, and he was like, "Oh, that's awesome!" I was like, "Thank you." One guy got it out of everybody, So after that, I was like, "All right, now I'm just doing what looks cool." Stop putting hidden messages. It was like crosswords.
Need to water it down for the Americans here.
I was like, I had so much fun putting it together, and I remember like the art drafts of everything. I was so like, I was annoying the people that were like formatting it. I was like, "Hey, this is the edit. This is what it says," and I would draw pictures, and they're like, "Dude, no one's gonna care." I was like, "People will care." No one cared. No one cares. I care. I still love it. I'll go look at it from time to time.
We care. Oh man, it's gonna be an awesome thing to look back on, especially as you guys continue to gain momentum and people, look back in the catalog, just like I look back in the catalog, and we form our own, like lore, as the kids call it, the lore of everything. Guys, it's been great talking to you. You guys have to get on a plane soon. I could do this all day, but let's jump into this final tune for now. Why don't you do me a favor and set the stage for us? Because you guys, you have a featured guest on this that I think is really cool. Tell us about it before we hear it.
So this featured guest we almost didn't get either because it was like a last minute thing where there's actually two stories. This song almost got taken by Fear Factory because on the studio, their manager heard it and he was like, "Hey, can I have that?" And they're like, "It's Sid's. Like, you can't just take it." And so he's like, "Oh, well, tell him." He's like, "Tell him I want it." And I was like, "Oh, is he going to pay me for it?" And they're like, "No, he just wants it." And I was like, "No, you can't have it." So then John was like, "Hey, I played your stuff for Dan Sugarman of Ice Nine Kills. He'd be interested in doing a guitar solo on it if you want him." I was like, "Yeah, man." And then we had the time schedule was going to happen. Then he went on tour with Metallica and he's like, "Hey, I don't think it's going to happen." I was like, "Oh shit." And then he got back and then the next day he recorded it. And then we made because we had like a closing window if we wanted to hit our deadline. So I was like, "Oh, I guess it's just not going to happen." And Dan went above and beyond. And he came back and he's like, "Hey, man, made it just in time. Here you go. What do you think?" I was like, "Bro, this is awesome. This is amazing." We at the 11th hour, he was able to get the solo to us, and we were able to get it turned in and get it to make the record. And so that's something that I never thought we'd be able to say. Like, yeah, Dan, Ice Nine Kills on a record with us. That's pretty cool.
Unbelievable. It was meant to be. It's God's plan.
Yeah.
I love when things work out like that too, because it's like just when you like let go of it, like that's when the universe conspires to make it happen. So sometimes you got to let go to get it.
Yeah, I was just like, I guess what will be will be, and then it's like, and what will be is an awesome guitar solo. And I was like, yes.
So definitely check that out. This last tune is called Let Sleeping Corpses Jive. Rip on, everybody. Stay creative.